Welcome back to MVM. Today I am bringing you a Kickstarter preview of this gigantic game you'll see in front of me. This is Aeon Trespass Odyssey from Into the Unknown. This is what they are calling an Odyssey game. It's a lot of story-driven narrative, a heavy combat system, and a lot of exploration, all kind of mixed into one. It is a campaign-driven game with a lot of legacy elements. You're going to be uncovering new storylines throughout the course of the game. You're going to be opening envelopes and boxes. However, nothing in this game is destructible. When you get to the end of the campaign, you're going to be able to play through it all again and encounter new things and take different steps. The game is going to come with a ton of components, and you're going to see a lot of those components spread out here before me, and I will go over what each of those components are. Now, keep in mind this is a Kickstarter prototype, so nothing you see here is final, including the artwork, the sculpts. Not everything is completely finished. In addition, there is a storybook that's going to come with the game, as well as an adventure book. And those things are going to be used hand in hand to kind of talk you through your adventure and help you explore the world of this game. So, what is the premise, you might be asking? This is a far future sci-fi game that presents a unique take on Greek mythology. You are a group of Argonauts sailing on the Argo, which is this very high-tech ship that is sailing through the waters. Meanwhile, these evil creatures, the primordials, are coming to life and wreaking havoc across the world, and you need to battle them, figure out what's going on, and try to put a stop to this. You're going to do that by actually merging your mind with a Titan, and that is where the combat takes place on this large combat board in front of me. So at the start of the game, you're going to be taking on the role, like I said, of one of those Argonauts. And you're going to be able to name your character and kind of actually build your character as you play the game by going up certain tracks and getting certain skills and things like that. In addition, the game is going to come with a variety of tracking sheets. You're going to be able to track your actual campaign information, things that happen with the Argo itself, and all the Titan information, because you can actually lose Titans and build new Titans during the course of the game. So this game is kind of a giant sandbox that's going to let you do a lot of stuff, and this campaign sheet is going to help you keep track of that. You'll get to certain points in the game where you'll be able to take branching paths based on some of the decisions you made before, some of the cards you have, and some of the keywords that you've written down on this sheet. In addition, you're going to see what's called the timeline, and this timeline is going to keep track of all of your important events and give you a choice matrix down at the bottom. And this choice matrix is going to be how the game kind of determines what you've done and what you haven't done. Because like I said, at its core, this is a narrative-driven adventure game, and the game is kind of broken into two parts, and I'll talk about that narrative-driven part first. You're going to see up here at the top of the board kind of a map of tiles with the Argo miniature being featured there. This map is how you're going to explore the world and go on adventures. As you uncover new locations and move your Argo across the ocean, you're going to see little adventure markers, and each one of these adventure markers is going to correspond to a card. And there are a deck of these that came with the prologue. And again, I'm not spoiling anything for the actual game because I'm just playing the prologue here that they gave me. So you're going to have a series of these adventure cards that are going to have symbols that are going to reference back to the adventure book. The first time you go there, you're going to do the leftmost symbol, then the middle symbol, and then the far symbol. And you're going to go through them in that order. By the time you're done, you will have fully explored that location and completed the adventure of that location. Now, the decisions you make during that adventure are going to impact not only the growth of your character and the Argo, but they're also going to shape the direction of the campaign. So it's very important to do these adventures, and you can do them in any order. You can do the first circle on one, go someplace else, come back, do the second one later. And you're going to track that with one of these tokens. You're going to see a variety of tokens up here that are used for tracking. You place these tokens on this card, and when you're finally finished, you're going to know you've got all of the tokens you need there. In addition, you can mark some things with certain number tokens or certain symbols that might come out into the board to tell you to go to certain specific entries in the book. While you're out there floating, you're going to be encountering a variety of different things. You're going to see a lot of these different decks out here, but you're going to be able to find and discover weapons and treasures and equipment and things to give to your Titans so that when you battle these primordials, you are a little stronger. You're also going to uncover new threats, and that is kind of the timer of the game. at certain points throughout the story, you're going to get these Doom cards. And these Doom cards are going to basically have a story description and then a gameplay mechanic. And it's going to tell you how to interact with that. For example, this one has you looking for labyrinth tokens out in the world, and every time you do, you place a token on this. When you reach a certain number of tokens, this is actually going to flip and something really bad is going to happen. So this kind of is what they call like the Doom track. It's going to show you that you're progressing towards something very bad that's going to happen, be it an attack from the primordials or a new adventure that you can go on. In addition, you're going to have similar boards for story elements. And these are like quests that you can go on. As you do specific things, you're going to be placing tokens on these as well to kind of track these. Now, the interesting thing about this game is since it's a sandbox, you can have multiple quests going on and you can have multiple Doom tracks being tracked at the same time. So you'll see why it is important to have those character sheets. But as you complete these, again, you're going to be able to flip them over and it's going to tell you something else to do. Usually these are going to give you rewards or unlock different areas or things that you couldn't do before. In addition, you'll see another deck of just things that can happen to you, and you're going to just have these cards, and the book is going to tell you when to draw them and apply specific effects to your characters. You're also going to see peril cards, you're going to see condition cards, the items you can draw. All of these things are kind of used for the adventuring part of the game or that journey phase. Now, at certain points in the game, you're going to have to enter combat. And combat is kind of more the meat of the game. You're going to be battling these giant primordials. So I said earlier that the premise of the game is for you to kind of take your Argonaut and mind merge with one of these titans. And at the start of the game, or at least for my prelude, you've got 4 of these available. And you're always going to take 4 titans into battle as long as you have 4 titans. These titans can die or be destroyed, leaving you to go recruit or create more titans over the course of the game. Now, even in a solo game or a 2-player game, you're always going to have 4 titans out on the battlefield, and you're just going to divvy up control. And if you look at this titan sheet, you're going to see a bunch of different things on there. For example, you're going to see a whole row of statistics. You're going to see movement speed. You're going to see dice they roll for damage, some special abilities, and then you're going to see their rage and their danger tracks. And we'll explain how those work when we get into combat. Now, we've got some pre-made ones, but you're actually going to be able to create your own as well throughout the course of the game. So that's something that you're going to see in the full version of this campaign. In addition to the sheet itself, your Titan can have weapons or armor or equipment and things that are going to go with them in the battle. Now, standard rules apply. You wear a helmet, a breastplate, 2 hands worth of items, things like that. And that'll all kind of make sense. And you'll be able to build these items throughout the course of the game or find these items. And actually, you're able to upgrade the Argo over time with facilities. And these facilities represent different things the Argo is capable of doing. Some of these are going to let you forge items or interact with the world in different ways. And so building new Titans and building new items is going to be tied into these facilities. And how you find these is going to be different for the campaign. They're going to come out as you discover them or add them onto your ship. So when the story tells you to get into a fight, you're going to set up the main combat board here. And in this example, we're fighting Hecaton, who is this giant looking hand monster. And the game is going to tell you how to set up that particular encounter. It's going to tell you where to put obstacles. It might even have you reveal some room tiles to add to this board. And it's going to tell you where your miniatures start. Now, you're going to have a miniature for each one of your Titans that each player controls. In addition, each Titan is going to have this Triskelion, and this is kind of the stat tracker for your Titan. You don't have normal stats like health and damage and things like that. Instead, you have these 3 tracks that are Rage, Fate, and Danger. And these are going to go up as the fight progresses. In addition, you're going to see the combat board here where you'll place the primordial you're fighting. In this case, like I said, Hecaton will come out with his AI deck, body part deck, possibly some traits, and you'll kind of lay out everything that you need to lay out for that fight right here. And this is also going to show you the range of that character and the different stats it has at different levels, including what you'll need to hit him. Now, combat in this game is actually pretty simple. On your turn, you're going to get to take 2 actions, a move action, an attack action, or you can do one of your special abilities that generally takes both the move and the action. If you've played games like this before, a lot of this is going to sound familiar. You'll understand concepts like movement through terrain and line of sight, and there are some pretty dense combat rules that I'm not going to fully get into here, but just know it's kind of on par with other games of this type. But you're going to be battling the monster in an interesting way. You're going to see 3 sets of dice out here, 2 types of d6s and 1 d10. Every time you go to fight or attack the monster, you're going to be rolling d10s. And every time you do damage to the monster, you're going to be rolling d6s. The value you need to hit on the hit dice is listed on the monster, and the number of dice you get to roll is on your weapon card. Now, at the start of the game, everyone just gets a fist, which lets them roll 2 dice. But over the course, you're going to be able to upgrade, for example, this sword, which only rolls 1 die, but has a +1 modifier to each one of the hits it makes. So you're going to have to choose which items to bring into a fight. But every time you go to make an attack, you're going to roll your assorted number of dice and check to see if you've hit. If you roll 1s, they're automatic misses. And if you roll a 10, it is considered a critical hit, which was actually pretty good. So those are kind of the 3 things that can happen. You can miss, you can hit, or you can do a critical. Once you've determined that you've actually hit the monster, then you're going to see if you do damage to it. And this is where you're going to draw from this body parts deck. You're going to reveal the top card of the body parts deck, and it's going to tell you what the amount of damage you need to deal in order to actually wound it is. In this case, it's saying, I need to do 2 damage. It could be 3, 4, 5. Depending on how strong the monster is, at what point in the campaign you're fighting, it's going to become much higher. Now, to damage the monster, you're going to take a number of either red or black damage dice based on a variety of different things. For 1, your character is going to have a rage track, which is going to tell you which dice to roll based on which level of the rage you're at. In addition, your weapon is going to have you roll the dice as well. So you're going to be rolling a certain combination of red and black dice, and you're going to be counting your hits and seeing if you hit that number. In this case, 4 hits beats 2, and you're going to look. You're going to see if you wounded it or if you did a critical effect. Now, some of these cards are going to have penalties for failing. Some of them don't. The only penalty for failing is that you just fail to do anything. Some of them are going to have critical effects. Some of them are not. Some of them are going to have 2-hit effects. So these cards, body part cards, are all very different. But this is how you damage the enemy. If you manage to hit on this card, you're going to set this body part card off to the side. This is going into a discard pile that is your damage. When the number of body part cards in that discard pile reaches the monster's health, you have effectively killed that monster. So you're going to set that aside. Now, a few things happen every time you attack. First of all, you're going to gain a rage. We talked about this Triskelion here, and it's got your 3, your rage, your danger, and your fate. Your rage is going to slowly go up during the course of the game as you make your combat attacks. Your fate is going to slowly go up in this game as you decide to reroll dice. If you don't like what you've rolled, you can gain a fate to reroll that. Now, it seems pretty simple, just gain a fate to reroll dice, but some of the monsters have attacks or special abilities that are going to do more damage based on how high your fate is. So that's kind of a push your luck element in itself. And this entire Triskelion has a push your luck element that I'll talk about in a second that can be very punishing to you. So you're going to roll those dice, you're going to gain your rage, you're going to hit. If you manage to do damage to the enemy, you're going to escalate it. These primordials are going to get stronger the more you hit them. As you can see here, we have the AI deck at level 1 and the body parts deck at level 1. After you've dealt a damage, you're actually going to take a level 2 AI card and a level 2 body part card, and you're going to replace a card in the deck, and you're going to shuffle these new cards in. Now, this monster is actually getting stronger as you deal damage to it, and when you reach that damage threshold, it's fine, it's just destroyed. Once you actually run out of these cards, meaning the monster's at its most powerful level, you'll start adding some double damage cards into the deck instead. Now, when you draw these, you just do double damage to them as well. So it's kind of, eventually you're going to reach a state where he runs out of cards and you're just flat out dealing damage. Once all the heroes have done their actions, so you're going to go in clockwise order until every Titan has acted, then the Primordial gets to act. And the Primordial is going to have their deck of AI cards that they're going to draw from. And this AI card is going to have a variety of things on here that almost looks like a computer program. It's going to have a bunch of steps that they have to follow in order. If it can hit a certain hero, it's going to. If not, it's going to go for its next target, then its next target. In addition, this might tell you to use one of its routine or signature abilities that are printed here on the sheet. As you move down this track, you're going to be attacking heroes and potentially doing damage to them. Now, heroes always have a chance to dodge the attack of the monster. You're going to get a certain number of dice to roll and a 2-hit target. If you can roll that 2-hit target, you're going to avoid that attack. Otherwise, you're going to take damage. And I said earlier that you don't actually have health, and that is correct. You're going to increase your danger, and then based on where you are on the danger level of this track, you're going to take a wound. And you're going to have wound cards, trauma cards, out here from level 1 to 3. Now these trauma cards are not going to kill you, but they are going to do other things to you, like knock you down, inflict conditions, status effects, hinder your ability to perform in the combat. You can dodge a little easier if you have given this monster some co-op tokens, which I'll talk about here now. Co-op tokens are dealt out through the use of this rage track. As you can see, as you go down the rage track, you're going to be getting these tokens that you can put out that other players can use. When it's the next player's turn, they can use these to either gain a bonus to their attack or to help them defend the enemy's attack. And once the next player's taken their turn, they wipe out anyway. So you're basically setting up a combo for the next player to use. So even if your turn was a complete miss, if you put enough tokens in that pool, the next player is going to do really well. In addition, you might be able to inflict some permanent negative modifiers on the enemy. You've got some tokens that are green and red for positive or negative, and they're just going to sit here in this modifier pool and affect the enemy overall. And there's a whole cheat sheet for what all of these mean. But you can use all these tokens, the co-op tokens and these negative tokens, to try to do more damage to the enemy, try to avoid its attacks, and try to survive. Now, if a Titan is killed in combat, it is gone out of your campaign. You're going to have to create a new Titan or find a new Titan to replace it. But winning or losing the fight is not necessarily the goal of the campaign. Things are always going to move forward. So every scenario is going to have a success and fail option. So you might be wondering, how do your characters die, since I said you don't have health? I talked about a push your luck element with these tracks. Each one of these tracks goes up to 9. If you are at 9 on each of these tracks, you are at your most powerful, but you are also courting danger. Every time you're at 9 and would go to 10, you stay at 9 and you draw a card. There are 3 stacks of cards, 1 for each attribute. These cards are going to have negative effects that could affect your character permanently going forward. In addition, if you go up too far on the danger track, you have a choice of 2 obol cards. For the start of the game, one of these is you live and one of these is you die. So you have a 50-50 chance of living or dying when you get up to that 10th danger. However, there are ways to add cards to this deck over the course of the campaign, so your odds might become a little better of living. They could also become a little better of dying. So when you get to the end of a fight, either through all your Titans dying, or if 2 of your Titans die, you can run away, or you might kill the primordial. Either way, you're going to go back to that storybook, you're going to follow everything it says, and you're going to get rewards, move on with the story, and things like that. So there's a lot going on in this game, but that is why they're calling it an Odyssey game, because there's just a ton of content that comes with this game. And this is not even everything. Like I gave you kind of a gloss over overview of how this game is played, but there is so much more coming in the final package. So that is Aeon's Trespass. If you'd like to take a look at their Kickstarter page, you can follow the link below and try to maybe see just all of the expansive content they've got coming for you. Come back here, leave some comments, ask some questions. Let me know if there's anything in particular you want to know, because there is a lot to talk about with this game. But again, thank you guys for watching, following, and subscribing to us here at MVM, and I will see you next time.